morning. I appreciate everybody who's here this morning. I see a lot of my friends that I sort of expected, and a few other folks that I'm not sure that I recognize, but I'm delighted that all of you are here, that you got up early on this cold morning and joined us. And you're a little bit fortunate. The last couple of years we started this at 8 o'clock, so at least you had a 30-minute reprieve. I'm talking this morning by request on the subject, Restoring the Spirit of Christ in the 21st century. Restoration has become sort of a controversial term. People talk about it and argue about it. Is it valid? Did the Bible give us any kind of pattern for the things we're looking for? I look back to one of the things that Thomas Campbell said in the early days of the Restoration movement. He said, if there's no pattern, no way to tell what we ought to do in worship and what we ought not to do, then anything is all right. Unless there's some kind of declaration as to what we're going to do, then we do anything we want to. And not many people, some probably would, but not many people, I think, would accept that way of thinking. When we talk about restoration, people want to know is the restoration movement ongoing or has it already happened? And that's an argument that goes on between two people not talking about the same thing. If the restoration movement is not complete, if there's not a restored New Testament church, then how would we saved? Because what saves the church? On the other hand, who would be bold enough to say, I know that I do everything exactly right, exactly like the New Testament church said to do? And that would be a little bit arrogant, I think. Although, looking back at it, I think everything I think is true. How about you? I think I'm right, everybody else is wrong who disagrees with me. How about you? If I didn't think that, I'd think what I did think was right, wouldn't I? Right. So we all have those feelings, those convictions. But on the other hand, we need not to be arrogant about it, or else we don't have the Spirit of Christ in the 21st century. We'll get to that more in a little bit. Paul talked about in 1 Corinthians 14, Romans chapter 8, what we do with conscientious convictions that people have when they differ with one another. Oh, not concerned there what's right and what's wrong. I'm concerned with what people firmly believe and how they treat each other. The Bible nowhere condemns. On the other hand, the Bible everywhere encourages careful consideration of all views between people who differ. Sitting down and discussing them quietly and calmly and gently and without impugning the other's motives, trying to arrive by scripture and reason with truth. But you look over in the fruits of the works of the flesh, and you have things like strife and debate and argument. And that's not saying it's wrong to discuss these matters or to differ with them or to try to figure out what's right about them. The old invitation from God, come let us reason together, saith the Lord, is still a valid call. But he's talking about attitudes there. He's talking about how we deal with one another. And what Romans and 1 Corinthians both say about those kind of things is two things. Number one, to the one who thinks something is wrong and isn't, he calls him the weaker brother. He's not to look at the one that considers himself to be the stronger brother and say he's condemned because he doesn't believe like I do. On the other hand, the stronger brother, whoever he is not to look down on the weaker brother and say, he's crazy, ridiculous. He doesn't have any sense, he wouldn't believe that. Not to despise, not to look down upon the other. So we're not to judge each other, and we're not to look down upon each other. It's all right to differ. Somebody's right, somebody's wrong most of the time, not every time, but most of the time when we differ. But we need to talk about it reasonably and gently. One of the things that impresses me is that when the Bible talks about discussing differences and correcting one another, it always tells us what kind of attitude we ought to have to do it with. Just for a couple of instances, in Galatians chapter 6, verse 1, the Bible says if somebody is overtaken in a fault, you who are spiritual restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness, considering yourself lest you also be tempted. We all understand what gentleness is. We may not work with it, but we understand it. And the other part of it, I think very seriously, is not being arrogant about it. If somebody does something wrong, I don't need to come on and say, man, I couldn't be tempted with that. I can't be tempted with anything. I'm about to be right. You're just wrong. And I think the same thing goes when we're talking to somebody about differences of opinion, differences of viewpoint. There's always, when there's a difference, something right, something wrong. Maybe both are right, maybe both are wrong. But whichever it is, I'm not to judge the other. That is, I'm not to condemn the other. And I'm not to despise the one that I think is just sort of foolish. But instead to treat with gentleness. And the second part of that, considering yourself lest you also be tempted, I think is speaking against arrogance. Which would not only be not being able to be tempted, but opening up at least the possibility that you might be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong about anything. If you challenge me on anything I believe, I'll defend it furiously. But there's so many different people in the world. So many different people believe so many different things. I can't bring myself to come to the point where I'm so smart and I know better than anybody else in the world that I'm right about everything I believe and everybody else is wrong if they differ with me in any way. And that doesn't mean I'm going to be wishy-washy about my beliefs. That doesn't mean I'm not going to follow my beliefs wherever they lead. But it does need to mean that I'm not going to be arrogant about it. And I'm not going to think my mind is made up, that nothing can change me. If somebody else will show me a scripture that was different from what I see, and it led in a different direction, I still wouldn't believe it. None of us are going to say that. We need to be open at least to the possibility that there's something we don't know that we can be told that might change our mind. I've used this illustration before, but we were at our house one day when two Jehovah's Witness ladies came by. And they knocked on the door, and I answered, and they said, we're studying with Jehovah's Witnesses. We'd like to study the Bible with you. You have some time to study the Bible with us. Well, I certainly didn't want to say, no, I don't have time to study the Bible. So I invited them in. We can study the Bible together, I said. We were sitting down around the table, getting ready to study. And I said something like, I always enjoy studying the Bible, even with people I don't agree with, because there's always something I might learn. The Bible talks about iron sharpening iron. And maybe we can help each other as we study together. And one of those women said, no, sir. We're not here to learn. We're here to teach. Well, that ended the study. And I'm quite certain none of us would ever be so blatant as to put it that way. But I wonder if sometimes we don't convey that idea to people we're studying with, even if we don't say it in so many words. Not realizing we can be tempted also, and not arrogant, but realizing at least the possibility that somebody might show us something we don't know, and we might learn something. You that are spiritual, restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness, considering yourself, lest you also be tempted. In another passage, the Apostle Peter said, we've already read it, to give an answer to everybody that asks the reason for the hope that lies within you, with meekness and fear. Same two things. Meekness, gentleness, not arrogant, but with some fear. Be careful if we're going to restore the Spirit of Christ in the 21st century, that when we are even discussing things about which we differ, and things about which we feel very strong, that we use the right attitude with the people we're discussing with. If somebody says the restoration movement is already complete, we've said it's not complete, and we're not a member of the New Testament church, and that's not something we want to believe. But on the other hand, we're not arrogant enough to say, well, everything I know is just right, everything I believe. Well, I say we shouldn't be arrogant enough to say something like that. I've heard a lot of sermons. I've been preaching some of them in days gone by on the identity of the church. in which I listed the things by which you could tell the Church of the New Testament from anybody else. But I know now that I went through and listed all the things that I knew we did and they didn't. And I don't think I listed anything that was wrong. But I think I left out some things that ought not to have been left out. One of them, Jesus, you remember, said, we are to love one another like Christ loved the church. And that's the way by which men will tell that you're my disciple, if you love one another. How can we possibly preach a sermon on the identity of the church and leave out the very one thing that Jesus said is how people don't know? But you see what we're doing? We're putting in the things we know we do. And we don't put in that one because somebody might say, oh, don't do that very well, so you're not going to be in the New Testament church. But we need to be careful about that kind of thing. Jesus got angry sometimes. Sometimes I think we need to be angry. Jesus got angry at injustice. Didn't like it, did something about it. But the main thing he got angry about, according to the New Testament, is self-righteous hypocrisy. People who came across as know-it-all. People who were not even willing to listen. People who, well, here's what he said about it. You tithe mint and anise and cumin, but you leave undone the weightier matters of the law, justice and mercy and faith. Those are the weightier matters. I didn't say that. Jesus said that. Now, we put that in our time. Tithing was an important part of worship in those days. And the Pharisees got that right. They were very careful about it. You tithe mint, anise, and cumin, that means they had a little mint bush outside their front yard, outside their front porch by which they flavored their tea. And they were careful to give one leaf out of every 10 on that to be sure they tithed everything they were supposed to tithe. Being very careful, scrupulous about worship. Jesus said that you ought to do it. You ought to have done that. That's right. But not to have left the other undone. I wonder if he were talking today, if he would say to us, you worship without an instrument of music. You take the Lord's Supper every Sunday and only on Sunday. These you ought to have done. I think he would. That's something we ought to do. But would he say these you ought not to have left undone? Justice and mercy and faith. Justice is being angry at injustice, not liking it when somebody mistreated you. Mercy is overlooking some things, not because we think they're right, but because we just don't want to be a condemning kind of person. And faith has to do with believing what the Lord said and confidently trusting in it. Those are the more important things. Remember what James said about mercy? James said, mercy triumphs over judgment. Jesus twice, talking to people who were scrupulous about a lot of things, said to them, go and learn what this means. And quoted what I guess must be his favorite Old Testament passage, because he quoted it twice. I desire mercy and not sacrifice. Sacrifice is a vital, important part of Old Testament worship. It was something they needed to get right, and they tried to get it right, it was right to try to get it right. But Jesus said there's something more important than that. And that's how we treat our fellow men. How we make them feel about how we feel about them. There's a passage of scripture that I think we have misquoted, maybe not misquoted, misapplied, misunderstood. I haven't heard anybody say this wrong thing about it, but I see it practiced in the wrong way. The passage is in Ephesians, chapter 4, where it says, have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove. Have no fellowship with me, don't participate in it. Don't participate in the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove. It does not mean, although this is how I see it practiced sometimes, it does not mean if anybody disagrees with you about anything, don't have anything to do with them, don't associate with them, don't eat with them, don't be a friend with them. That's not what it says. Don't participate in the unfruitful works of darkness. Even if we're correcting somebody, be gentle and not arrogant. That's part of the Spirit of Christ in the 21st century. Do people look at us as the Church of Christ and think, man, look how they love one another? There are places where they could if they knew what was going on. I've been in more than one congregation, I think I'm in one now, where we do really love one another, we really care for one another, we help one another out with our problems, we know what they are. We're very careful to honor each other, and if we correct one another, to do it carefully and gently and not arrogantly. But as a brotherhood, people look at us, and I don't think they oftentimes say, look how they love one another. They may say, look how they squabble. Look how they fuss at one another. Look how they fight and divide over one another. As a brotherhood as a whole, reaching out not just to our mainline congregations, but including all those that are part of what we call the Restoration Movement, the one-cuppers, what we call the antis. I don't like to use that kind of term, but most everybody knows what I'm talking about. Matter of fact, somebody was talking about going to a church somewhere, and I had looked it up and told them where they ought to go, and I found one, what we call mainstream. And I found one that was what they would call themselves non-institutional. And so I said, look, that was non-institutional. What did that mean? Let's see, it means that they don't believe in cooperating with one another to the extent of contributing to one church to help that church do its work. It means that they don't believe you don't take anything out of the treasury to help anybody except a Christian. And it means that you ought not to use facilities of the church for things like recreation and fellowship and legal. Well, I never heard of that. Well, it's what a lot of people call Andy. Oh, I know who you're talking about. I don't want anything. We use labels. And label may not mean anything to us except they're labeled and we don't like that. I don't like labels. I don't want to be called liberal, but I'm liberal about some things. I even say in my masthead, I'm biblical in practice, conservative in biblical in doctrine, conservative in practice, and liberal in love. And that's how I want to be. I believe very strongly that it's sinful to operate on a respect of person's notice where we consider a person's outward appearance rather than just his actions and character. That's, generally speaking, not considered conservative. That's considered liberal, but it's biblical. Not even church building is considered conservative, but I don't think it's biblical to require that. I don't like the terms. Well, let me tell you one reason I don't like them. I was at Vicksburg, Mississippi, preaching in a church. We really only had one church in town when I first moved there, and right across the Mississippi River from Louisiana. And people often were coming in, they were getting in Mississippi, and they were spending the night there, and they wanted to go to church there. And not untypically, a lady called me one Saturday afternoon and said, we're in such and such a motel, we want to go to church tomorrow, and I want to know, are you conservative? Well, I had just moved from Portland, Oregon. I had just dealt with people who think it didn't really matter whether you're baptized or not. I dealt with some people who believed that the miraculous spiritual gifts were still available to Christians today, and not. And so I said, yes, ma'am, we're conservative. Well, she came the next morning and brought two of her children. I met her at the door. She said, I'm the one who called you that night. I said, good, I'm glad to have you. We were walking down the hall of a class. She looked over the side and saw the accoutrements of the kitchen. She exploded. She called me a liar. She said, you deliberately deceived me to get me in here and try to convert me and change me. I'm not stable. And she left. See, she had a different idea of what it meant by conservative than I did. And that's one reason I don't like those labels, because a lot of people have different ideas about what they are. I would much rather say that church believes this or practices that than to say they're liberal or to say they're conservative. Then let the other person make up their own mind about what the label ought to be. But that's part, I believe, of restoring the Spirit of Christ in the 21st century. Not using labels and names about other people. when we deliver the message about the marks of identity of the New Testament church, most of the time I see down at the bottom, the last thing mentioned, mission. And they talk about the mission being to save the lost, and seek the lost as Jesus did, which is correct. A lot of times I notice they spend a whole lot more time on the other points than they do on that one. And that one, it seems to me, is one of the ones Jesus was talking about when he said, you leave undone the weightier matters of the law. There's not anything more important, the identity of the New Testament church, than what we believe about his mission. We believe the mission ought to be the same thing Jesus' mission was. Jesus said, I came to seek and to save that which is lost. That's his mission, that ought to be our mission. Now, we had a period of time when there was a great big discussion and everybody fussing with one another and disfellowshipping one another, because there was a group of people who decided that was the mission, and every single member needed to do it, and every single member needed to do it exactly this way. And if you didn't do it exactly this way, you weren't a Christian. You've probably heard of that. There were some right-wingers, I would call them, about that same time, who were really anti-crossroads about that. Matter of fact, they got to the point where anything they disagreed with was called crossroads. And they fought it everywhere they went. But I made the statement one time, their area is the same as crossroads there. They did what? They did. Because crossroads people believe you got to do evangelism, you got to do it exactly this way. The other people said you got to oppose false doctrine, you got to do it exactly this way. The same intensity I do, exactly the same way that I do. Their basic problem was the same. The reality is that we all have different gifts. We all have different talents and abilities. Romans 12 mentions some of them. 1 Corinthians 12 mentions them, and most of those are miraculous. But the gifts mentioned in Romans 12, for the most part, are not miraculous. It includes serving, includes giving, generosity, it includes showing mercy, and other kinds of things. People have gifts for those things. Somebody told me I have a gift for writing. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I'd like to think it is. Other people have a gift for preaching. I never did have that. My preaching has always, for the most part, been instructive. Nearly everywhere I went, if I lived there for a long time, I had some people, by the instruction that I gave and on the radio and other places, that seemed to be about ready to do something about it, obey the gospel. But I wasn't the kind of preacher that stirred them up and got them to do what they thought they ought to do. And so after I'd been there a while, we almost always had Jimmy Allen or Charlie Cole or somebody like that who could really get people to move. And we'd have them come in and we'd have several baptisms. I'm when some preachers got jealous over that sort of thing. I didn't get jealous about that. I felt like I had a part in getting them ready. But I also knew I wasn't the one who could get them to, as we say, walk down the aisle. Those other people had that talent to do that. In the early days of the Restoration movement, they went in pairs. And one was the preacher and one was the encourager. And one was the teacher who would teach for a while and explain things, and then one who was the encourager was be a Jimmy Allen, I guess, and then bring people down the aisle. They're two different talents, two different abilities. And whatever ability we have, we need to use it for the glory of God. Yeah. I've known some ladies who had a wonderful ability to cook. One that I knew of had a particular ability to cook chocolate pie that just melted in your mouth and made you slobber to even look at it. And she used that talent to help convert people. When somebody in her neighborhood had a new baby, she took them a chocolate pie. When somebody in the neighborhood was sick, she took the one who was taking care of them a chocolate pie. Almost anything that happened that was a note, she took them chocolate pie. People loved that, people remembered that, people appreciated that, and when somebody else came along to teach a Bible class, they remembered that, and oftentimes were willing to listen. We don't do things the same way, but we do have, very importantly, the same mission. And all of us ought to use whatever talent we have, whatever ability we have, to encourage people to obey the gospel, to seek and to save that which is lost. If loving one another is not in our list of identities in the New Testament church, it needs to be. If our mission to love the lost, to seek and to save that which is lost, is not in the mission of the local church, of our identity of the church, it ought to be. Jesus talked a lot about holiness. The Bible in particular talks a lot about holiness. I've always been impressed with the fact that more than one time, angels, prophets like Isaiah, and others referred to God as holy, holy, holy. Holiness is one of the characteristics of God. But very, very often, it's mentioned 3 times. God is holy, holy, holy. God is love. The Bible says that. Agape love, that's a characteristic of God. It's what he's like, it's what he is. If you don't love, you don't love God because he is love. But the Bible never says he's love, love, love. It does say he's holy, holy, holy. God's a God of mercy. The Bible emphasizes that a lot. I remove your sins as far from you as the east is from the west. I plant them in the depths of the ocean. As James said, mercy triumphs over judgment. Jesus said, go learn what this means. That is our mercy and not sacrifice. Mercy is very important to God. It's a very important part of his character. Very important part of Jesus' character. As you see, when you follow along, looking at dealing with the man and woman taken in adultery and others who had been caught with sin. But the Bible never says he is mercy, mercy, mercy. The Bible says more than once about God. He's holy, holy, holy. I think that says something about the importance of that characteristic. I think that's in the very essence of who God is. Holiness means separation. Separation from sin in particular. Separation from anything that sounds like or reputes to be sin. God is holy. The Old Testament emphasized that. The whole Old Testament system was designed to say that God is so holy, man is so unholy, that you can't even approach him. If you want to try to approach him, first of all, you had to go to a priest. He had to take a sacrifice. Once a year, he had to go into the most holy place in the presence of God and present a sacrifice there for his people. And the Bible says as long as that curtain between the holy place and the most holy place still stood, that was a manifestation of the fact that the way into the presence of God is not yet made known. On the day when Jesus Christ was crucified, miraculously, that veil, that curtain between the holy place and the most holy place was split into twain, bottom to top. The writer of Hebrews said that signified that through Jesus' flesh, through his death on the cross, the way in the presence of God is now manifest. We can now get there. And God's not any less holy now than he was then. But the difference is, through the blood of Jesus Christ, we are forgiven of our sins. God has forgotten our sins. We are cleansed and made holy by the blood of Jesus, not by our deeds, not by everything we've done correctly, not by everything we believe is right, but by the sacrifice of Christ. We've been made holy, and therefore we can approach God. We don't need a priest. We don't have to carry a blood sacrifice. We can come boldly before the throne of grace, seeking help in time of need. Because we are cleansed, we're holy, we're priests of God. Jesus Christ is our high priest, and he's the only one we have to go through to get to God. What does it mean to be holy? Well, let me suggest you read the epistles. Read every one of them, not every one of the epistles, most of the epistles that Paul wrote. Start out with a premise, a truth to present. In Romans, we're not justified by works, we're justified by faith in Jesus Christ. In Ephesians, it's the one glorious body of Christ, the church. And both in Romans and Ephesians, and in other epistles where he had other ideas to present, he presented those ideas and showed clearly from Scripture and reason that that's what God is, that's what God wants. And then at the top of another chapter he says, therefore. I sometimes preach a sermon I call so what. And I think that therefore indicates this is the so what part of the epistle. It's all true. So what? What are we supposed to do about it? How are we supposed to live because of it? In Romans it starts in chapter 12. In Ephesians it starts in chapter 4. Colossians it starts in chapter 3. Go read them, and you'll learn what holiness is. It usually starts out with unity and love of brethren. Starts out in Ephesians by saying, endeavor to keep the unity of the Spirit in the bond of peace. And it talks about attitudes that are required of that. Humility, gentleness, forbearance, all those kinds of things. It also talks about specific things we need to believe in order to be one. There's one body, one Spirit, even you're called in one hope, you're called in one Lord, one faith, one baptism. One God, the Father of all, above all, through all, and in you all. Those are uncompromisable truths. But they're not truths that need to be preached with arrogance. And they're not truths that need to be said, we've got all the details of it worked out, and it's this way, and not the other way. I believe that about what I believe. I expect you to too. But so does everybody else. And that's why we need to approach differences with gentleness and with reason. And not with spite, not with ugly words, not with turning people off by, I'm a right, you're a wrong attitude. Very clearly shown. The Spirit of Christ in the 21st century is gentleness, meekness, considering ourselves, recognizing that we're not infallible, and dealing with people, at least in the open way that if you have something to show me from the Scripture that I don't know, I'll be willing to accept it. Those passages about holiness also generally start out with sexual purity, avoiding adultery, fornication, lasciviousness, a lot of other words that have to do with sexual immorality. Christians wholly avoid sexual immorality. A lot harder to do these days than it was when I was growing up. Everywhere you turn, it's not only advocated, it's not only done, it's advocated. Which is what Paul said in Romans when he went through all that whole list of sins. And he said they not only do them, but they approve those who do them. That's going on now. Paul talked about certain people and their sins, and he said they brag about what their sins are. That's going on now. When you have a gay pride parade down the streets of New York City, they brag about what ought to be their shame. But what should I got to do about that? It still needs to be that we firmly, carefully, diligently teach the truth. Show that holiness doesn't involve those things. But while we show the sin to be wrong, and even indicate that we hate the sin, we have the Spirit of Christ in the 21st century and also love the sinner. I find that's not easy to do, but it's something we all need to work at, and it's something we need to try real hard to do. Jesus hated adultery, no question about that. But when there was a woman taken in adultery and brought to him by some self-righteous Pharisees, what he called them on other occasions, he said to him, without sin, cast the first stone, and none of them did. They all went away from the oldest to the youngest. I've often wondered if they weren't maybe involved in the same kind of sin. At least they knew they had sins. And there was something wrong with what they did, because they caught the woman in the very act of adultery. Then they caught the man too. But they didn't bring him. He may have been one of those who brought her. But that showed their sin, their inconsistency. Jesus showed mercy. She was a sinner. But Jesus said, neither do I condemn you. Go your way and sin no more. He didn't tolerate her sin. He didn't encourage her sin. He urged her not to sin. But he showed mercy to her for the sin she had committed. He hated the sin, but he loved the sinner. I'm so thankful for that. Because I've got sins too that he hates. And yet he's shown mercy to me. He's forgiven my sins because of my trust in Jesus Christ, his Son, who died for me. And therefore, I can be holy in His sight. And although I'm not perfect, although I continue to sin from time to time, I also, to the best of my ability and to my knowledge, I walk continually in the light. And as a result of that, the blood of Jesus Christ continually extended to me for my sin. And I can come before the holy God as a holy being, washed in the blood of the Son of God, and therefore holy. Not holy because of all I believe and all that I've done. And recognizing that is also a part of the restoring the Spirit of Christ in the 21st century. He not only talks about sexual sins and unity and right doctrine, he also talks about being honest. Let him that stole steal no more, but rather let him labor, working with his hands at things that are good. Notice this, that he might have to give to those who are in need. Work is a noble thing. One of the things wrong with some kids today as they grow up rebellious is they never talk to work. Not bragging on me, bragging on my parents. I worked from the time I was young as a kid. Had duties around the house that I was required to do. By the time I was 11, you normally didn't get a paper out till 12, but I got one at 11, and I kept it till the end of my high school years. And I made my own spending money, and I put up money for various things. That's not a tribute to me, that's a tribute to my parents. Because they knew. Well, we oftentimes say that an idle mind is a devil's workshop. Keep somebody busy doing work, even as a kid. You're blessing and helping. And over in the adulthood, our work is something that is part of our holiness. Jesus said, when you go to work, don't think about your immediate supervisor as working for him. You think about Christ as your immediate supervisor and work like you were working for him. That's not easy to do either. But it's part of the holiness that God calls us to in the epistle. Virtually every one of the epistles mentions that in one way or another. And everything we do is regulated by God. Not down to the last detail, but down to the last attitude. Down to the last thing we think about it and how we operate in our mind. And then it talks about how we operate within our families. Husbands, love your wives as Christ also loved the church. Wives, submit yourselves unto your husbands and unto the Lord. Those are words you don't hear very much in the secular society in which we live. But I can tell you it works. If you treat your wife like Christ treated you in love, and if she submits to you like the church submits to Christ in love, then you've got a marriage that comes pretty close to heaven on earth. Amen. What we often do is we go into marriage thinking marriage is supposed to make me happy. And not long before we find out there's not an awful lot of discrepancy in a marriage. Not a lot of discretionary funds. Most of the money we make is already obligated for rent, for car payments, for credit card payments. We've obligated it, but it's obligated. And because of that, we get down to brass tacks. We get down to the end of the month when there's not much money left at the end of the month. And not a lot, therefore, that we can discretionally use. And if that's true about money, it's worse about time. Time is a more precious commodity to most of us than money. It's demonstrated by the fact most of us will spend some money if we can save us some time. And not a lot of discretionary time in a marriage either. Time we work, time we carry the kids to everything they're supposed to be at, time we do things that have to be done around the house, especially the time we add to that, the time we're supposed to spend in church and doing church work and helping others and loving our neighbors and we all love ourselves. We get down to the bottom line and not a lot of discretionary time that we have. If I come into the marriage thinking this marriage is supposed to make me happy, then I'll be trying to grab every minute of discretionary time and every dime of discretionary money and use it for me and for my family so I can be happy in marriage. But my wife's going to do the same thing, especially if she sees me doing that. She's going to try to grab for what discretionary time and money there is. So she can do it. And it ends up with neither one of us happy, and both of us fighting the problem all the time. But we do it like God said. And I'm in a marriage to make my wife happy. And she's in a marriage to make me happy. And both of us end up a whole lot happier than we possibly could under the other method. And it's pretty close to heaven on earth. God's concerned about it. It's important to God that as wives we submit to our husbands. As husbands we love our wives. Same thing is true about the workplace. We've already mentioned that. He says very clearly that we're to work like we're working for Christ. And that would mean every Christian ought to be the finest worker, finest employee that there is in that business, because we do it out of conviction. We work for Christ. We give a full day's work for a day's pay, and sometimes even beyond that. I could go on, but it's very obvious from all the epistles that Christ is concerned about, God is concerned about every aspect of our life and everything that we do. And because of that, we need to be sure that we do it all with the right attitude. Jesus said something to, Paul said something to the Galatians that I think is relevant to what we're talking about. He said, I believe this is Galatians 4:14. The whole law is summed up in this one point: love your neighbor as you love yourself. But if you fight and devour one another, be careful that you don't eat one another up. That's kind of funny if you think about it. There's a poem that I used to read to my children a long, long time ago. I resurrected it back up with a new one. And I think I've got it here where I can read it to you. It's called The Gingham Dog and the Calico Cat. Both of them made out of cloth. The gingham dog and the calico cat side by side on the table sat. It was 12:30, and what do you think? Neither one nor the other had slept a wink. The old Dutch clock of the Chinese plate appeared to know as sure as fate there was going to be a terrible spat. I wasn't there. I simply stated what was told to me by the Chinese plate. The gingham dog went bow wow wow. Calico cat replied, meow. The air was littered an hour or so with bits of gingham and calico, while the old Dutch clock in the chimney place up with its hand before its face, for it always dreaded the family row. Now mind, I'm only telling you what the old Dutch clock declared as true. The Chinese plate was very blue, and well, oh dear, what will we do? And let's see if this is going to work. But the gingham dog and the calico cat wallowed this way and tumbled that, employing every tooth and claw in the office way that you ever saw. And oh, how the gingham and calico flew. Don't fancy I exaggerate. I got my news from the Chinese plate. Next morning, where the two had sat, they found no trace of dog or cat. And some folks think to this day that burglars stole the pair away. But the truth about the cat and pup is this: they ate each other up. Now, what do you really think of that? The old Dutch clock told me so, and that's how I came to know. It's sort of ridiculous to think that two different people fighting could eat each other up. That's what Paul said. Take heed when you fight, fuss and devour, but you don't devour each other. What do people see when they look at us? What can we do about what people see when they look at us? If we're restoring the Spirit of Christ in the 21st century, we go back to the fact that we need to add to our list of identifying marks of the New Testament church. They love one another. And then we need to make sure in our lives and our attitudes that we make that true. And that'll be a big step toward restoring the Spirit of Christ in the 21st century. Thank you, God bless.
Amen.